Rock and roll legend Joe Brown returned to Stoke at the Regent this month, and he's on the phone right now. Hello, Joe. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, mate. Welcome to another one.
Another classic interview starter here, Joe. You've just come back from America, haven't you?
Yeah, I got back, was it yesterday or the day before? I'm still jet lagging a bit, but I've got to get ready for the show. We open on Friday, so got to get all my guitars out, tune them up, change the strings, and do all that tonight when I get home.
Yes, well, you're playing here in Stoke at the Regent on the 24th. You're always well received here in the Potteries.
Yeah, I'm always about. I mean, I used to go there in the old days. Burslem Town Hall we used to play in those days. I don't know if it's still there, but...
It still stands. That's where we are based here in Burslem, Six Towns Radio.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
And one of Stoke-on-Trent's finest singers, the late Jackie Trent, was somebody you knew quite well, wasn't she, Joe?
Yes, I knew her. She was married to my producer, Tony Hatch.
So a couple of great connections between you and Stoke, and every time you play up here, you played at the Victoria Hall a few times. This time it's a Regent. You know the fans will get their money's worth. This time it's you, the guitar, ukulele, and some great stories, isn't it?
Well, I hope so. It's been going quite well, touch wood, and I'm enjoying it, and I really do. So far, we've been lucky enough to send people home with a smile on their face, and that's all that matters to me.
Last time I saw you, Joe, you did a cover of the excellent Chaz and Dave song, Ain't No Pleasing You. Will that be on there?
That won't, but I have got a Chaz and Dave song in there, in the show. I always try to have a Chaz and Dave song because I think they're great songwriters, and I've cut some of their songs. The one we're doing on the show is called the Diddlem song, which is a great song. You'd have to hear that one. I didn't even know about it, and suddenly I heard it, and I thought, wow, what a great song. Has to be Chaz and Dave. I think they're great pals of mine and great songwriters.
Yeah, both talented musicians. Chaz still loves rocking out today, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, Chaz is a great guitar player. And he plays piano because when he started, he played bass with the Outlaws, and he was in the house band of Joe Meek. So he played on all those early records. And of course, Dave is a wonderful 5-string banjo player. I don't know if you know that, but there really are a couple of great guys. And when they go in the studio, don't mess about with overdubs. They go and do it, and that's it, like it used to be.
As much as I love Chaz and Dave, I'd like to talk a little bit about you as well.
Yeah.
So in the late 50s, early 60s, you got to play with some amazing US artists, some big names, Gene Vincent, Eddie Cochran, etc. Was that because they couldn't bring their own musicians with them?
Yeah, basically, yeah. I got the job as playing lead guitar in what was a big orchestra, mostly the members of the Ted Heath Orchestra. And I was only just turned 18, I think, and couldn't read a note of music. Well, they loved me. But the American stars like Johnny Cash and Gene Vincent and Eddie Cochran, they weren't allowed to bring their own musicians, you see, because of the union rules. So I had to learn all their solos, and then when they come over, I had to play them on the TV show. And I got to go on tour with Vincent and Cochran and a guy called Ronnie Hawkins as well. So they were good days for me right at the kick-off,
So in your downtime between playing the music, were you talking about it and getting good stories?
Yeah, I mean, I used to go and if they were all, we travelled a lot by train, and I'd always take my guitar up to the first class where Eddie Cochran and Gene was, and I'd sit there and play with them on the train journeys. And sometimes, if we'd play in the hotels in one of our rooms, just sit and play all night. We just play. I learnt a lot from Eddie Cochran, and so did a lot of English guitar players at the time, because they played in a different kind of style, and used different kind of strings on their instruments. So I learnt an awful lot from people like that. If someone asked me if I had any talent, I'd say, listening to people that know.
Yeah, and throughout that time, you became good friends with some UK stars. Some are still with us, some are sadly not. Is anyone you really, really miss?
I miss George Harrison the most because he was a great friend of mine, and he was a great ukuleleist like I am, and I do miss him, and he was a great friend. And also Alvin Lee, great guitar player from 10 years after. Alvin was a good friend of mine and died very suddenly under an operation, and he lived in Spain, and I used to go out and play with him out there in Spain. And I miss the people I used to play guitars with. A lot of them. Gary Moore, he's died, and they all lived in the same area. Dave Edmonds used to live there. Dave's still alive, of course, but Dave's moved to Wales, so there's nobody there in that area. So I go out to Nashville, and I play a lot of guitar out there with people, with very good players out there,
Didn't George Harrison's son give you a guitar?
Yeah, he did. He gave me 2 guitars. He gave me one which is a dead copy of the Eddie Cochran's Gretsch. And when I say a dead copy, it even had the cracks in it and cigar burns and everything. They really went to town on it. And recently I was out in Nashville, and Danny was playing at the Grand Ole Opry at the Ryman Theatre out there, and he asked me if I'd go along and play with his band, and I went and took a mandolin and played with his band. And after the show he said, "I've got something for you," and he gave me an exact copy of George's walnut Telecaster, and I've got that out there in Nashville. And Danny's always giving me guitars. He's a lovely boy, Danny, by the way, I have to say. And he's so much like his dad. I mean, he looks so much like him. It's frightening sometimes, But they're a great family, Olivia, and I'm very fond of her mum, Olivia's mum, and Danny's grandmother. She's a lovely lady, and she lives in Los Angeles, and I try and make it out there sometimes for her birthday. She's a lovely lady. And Olivia's dad was a great guy, a great singer, and he used to sing all these beautiful Spanish songs and Mexican songs. Great guy. Lovely family.
And at one point in the 60s, you were that big, the Beatles were supporting you, you couldn't go anywhere, screaming girls and fans. But now you're really accessible, you'll meet up with these people who followed your career. Is that because they're not as mad as they were back in the day?
Well, I have to tell you this, I used to hate it when they all screamed. Well, I'm a guitar player. I used to learn all these solos, and you go out on the stage and they're all screaming at you and no one can hear what you're playing. I think that's actually why the Beatles packed up touring, because I saw a documentary when Paul said, "What's the point of going out there?" He said, "They don't hear what you're doing, they just scream all the way through it, And I could never understand that. I don't know what I want to scream at me for, but but I never did like it. I thought, no, this isn't right. They're not listening,
But now they come along, listen to every word and every note, and some of them have followed you since the 60s and still come to see you today.
Yeah. I mean it. Oh yeah. I mean I'm very happy that they still come to see me. I think I'll keep going until they don't, and then I'll stop. But it's funny because I'm up there sometimes talking about things and thinking, just a minute. I'm 77 now, so they know what I'm talking about, So it's funny. But our audiences actually have got younger. Not young, but younger. Like, I would say average age of our audience is 50 to 60 with their kids, So I'm lucky, really, that there's still a few left that want to see me, really.
You're too modest, Joe. It's because it's a great night out. That's why they still want to come see you. For all the family. It's in Stoke on the 24th. Thank you very much for talking to me today, Joe Brown.
You're more than welcome. And if you get the chance to come and see the show, pop round and say hello.
You don't have to ask me twice. I'll be there. See you in Stoke.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.